Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this Portugal Calling webinar for Expats Portugal. Great to have you here. We're going to be finding out how you can get access to accommodation, rental and purchase through Casa Portuguesa tonight with our brilliant speakers from Casa Portuguesa. We've got Carolina here. Good evening to you, Carolina.
Good evening. How are you?
Really good. Thank you. And you?
Very good as well. Very excited.
Excellent. Good to have you here. And you've brought your colleague along as well. Ivana is here. Good evening to you. Boa noite.
Hello, everybody. Good night. My name is Ivana Luna. Very nice to be here with you all.
Great to meet you. So the team tonight from Casa Portuguesa will come and do a deeper introduction to you both in just a moment. Just want to say a few hellos. Anna is in Cascais, surprise this evening. Kevin in Florida at 2:30 in the afternoon. Thank you for being here, Kevin. Gary, Castelo de Pera, it's 28 degrees, still nice and warm and comfortable over there in central Portugal tonight. Barak's in Texas, 1:33 in the afternoon. Welcome to hell. 110 degrees Fahrenheit in Texas. Wow, that is probably a bit hotter than you, Jerry, right? Over there tomorrow this afternoon. Incredible. Tampa, Florida, 97 at 2:30 in the afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Sean. Maryland, USA, just outside Washington, D.C., 2:30, about 85 degrees over there. Amazing. Susan is here. Another beautiful day in Porto. How lovely to have you here on this side of the water. 7:30 or just after local time. California, 97 degrees at 11:30 in the morning. Great to have you here. Thank you for being here during your daytime. It's a nice evening here in Portugal, and we'll get underway now with our webinar and talk to Carolina first. Carolina, Casa Portuguesa, the name comes from that wonderful Amalia track, doesn't it?
Yes, it is. We have to have a cultural reference in our name, and Amalia is it's a lovely reference, and Fado is a heritage we have, and we have to celebrate it.
Absolutely. And it's a really good language lesson as well as a culture lesson, isn't it? If people want to look for that later on this evening or this afternoon and look at the words and maybe the translation, it really sums up something beautiful about the Portuguese psyche, I think. So Casa Portuguesa, the name of the company tonight and the name of the classic track from Amalia Rodrigues, which I urge you to learn more about. She is the Queen of Fado, of course. Carolina, we'll come back to Ivana in just a moment, but tell us about yourself and what you do at Casa Portuguesa, if you will.
Okay, so I've been in Casa Portuguesa and A because they are connected, and I've been here for a year. And in Casa Portuguesa, we are taking care of renting. So we help you in that process as well. If you want to rent a house to visa necessities, we can take care of that for you. And we can also help you buy a house, because in Casa Portuguesa, we are not a real estate agency per se. We are buyer agents. So what we do is we contact the real estate agents that we know here in Portugal, and when we enter in contact with them, we look for the properties the client is looking for, and working with several agencies gives us a lot of houses to see. And if you work only with a real estate agency, you only see the houses they have. And this is a plus by being a buyer agent, really. And we help you looking for the places with the documentation. The legal department always reviews everything and takes care of everything for the renting and for the buying. So usually it's what we do, and we help you all in the journey with all the questions you might have, because it's a journey, really.
Yeah, and you mentioned there, didn't you, that this is the sister company of A, or EI, as some of us refer to it as, so that everybody knows who we're talking about. And it was an idea that Gilda had, I think, some time ago. And when she first told everybody about it, they thought, no, that would never work. That's a really weird idea, Gilda. But like a lot of visionaries, she turned out to be absolutely right in the end. So the two wonderful companies working side by side, offering a comprehensive service from start to finish to get you involved in your visa process, everything you need to get to Portugal, and then a beautiful house to arrive at ultimately as well. So Carolina, thank you. We'll come back to you and your presentation in just a moment. And we need to speak to your colleague, Ivana, because I think you're in Lisbon, of course, Carolina, and we've got Ivana up representing Porto. Good evening to you.
Hello. Yes, I'm in Porto. I'm working with A for almost 2 years. And now I just began to work with Casa Portuguesa as well. And I think I think we can do a great job here in Porto. There's a lot of places and very nice, beautiful cities around central Porto that people can choose if they don't want to go downtown. And it's very nice. And I'm here to help. And
well, it's lovely to meet you. Muito prazer, Ivana. And of course, last week's webinar was the final of the greatest place to live in Portugal. And the North took the title. Sorry to rub it in, Jerry. But Hank was representing the North of Portugal. And of course, you're proud to do the same. And between you represent all of the country. But what's been going on in Porto in this last 5 years, Ivana? It's transforming, isn't it? Before our very eyes in Porto.
Yes, because prices are increasing, but we are having many good opportunities for housing, and they are renovating old places and so on. It's nice to have a choice to live here in Porto.
And in that very competitive environment, nice to have somebody working on your side, like Casa Portuguesa as well, who can make the calls, get in touch with people and speak to them in Portuguese. So there isn't the premium when they hear somebody speaking to them in English on the phone. Fantastic. Ivana, great to meet you. I'm sure you'll be chipping in during the call. We'll have the presentation after we've heard from Jackie in just a moment. And then when we've finished recording tonight, we'll have a little bit of an informal session. If you prefer to ask your questions without being recorded, you can do that a little bit later on in the call. Jackie, a pang of jealousy, I hear, talking to somebody who recently used Casa Portuguesa. Why?
Yeah. So recently, my husband and I decided to help our son do all the things involved with getting an apartment in Carcavelos. We thought, we've done this. We could help him. This is going to be no problem. And that's the kind of hubris that leads to marital discord, because my idea at the time was, let's just go and wait the 5-6 hours with our book, our lunch, get in line, and whatever it takes, if it takes all day to get water or power, whatever it is, we'll just get in line. My husband insisted that we try their online, because they're now doing it online. But online came with a host of problems, which was it's all in Portuguese, and even the translation wasn't very clear. So it ended up being quite a nightmare and quite a debate, and it took forever. And so recently, the other day, Jerry and I had a consultation with a young man. His name was Nathan, and he was talking about his experience with Casa Portuguesa. He was like, oh, they send me videos of apartments, and I had so many to choose from, and they found this great apartment on this great Avenida Libertad. He says, I really love this area. And he goes, and when I walked in, everything worked. He said, water, power. He goes, even the cable worked. And I have to say, I felt such a pang of jealousy, because we had just gone through this with my son. Yes. So, but he was more than happy. He sounded like a commercial for Casa Portuguesa, because he was thrilled with the service.
Super.
Well, so that wasn't my experience, but I'm glad he had it.
You'll know next time.
I learned my lesson.
When you get your, when you get your holiday home in Porto or something like that, Jackie, you'll know exactly who.
Never make that mistake again.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much for that. And of course, the consultations that you heard about there, you can speak to somebody at the Expats Portugal team as a member and get a consultation one-to-one with somebody who can help you in that situation that Jackie just described there, which is a great part of the service offered. Okay, so we've got Connie with us tonight as well. Thank you for being here. Angela, who's pretty warm as well, I think, tonight. Hi, Angela. Denise, Paul in the Algarve. Best place to live, apparently, in Portugal. Detroit is 80 degrees. Patrick and Barbara, good evening to you. Phyllis, Sean, Courtney, Rahan is here. Lowell, forgive me if I haven't got to you and your name, but welcome everybody tonight to the call. Let's go to Carolina and have a look at this presentation, and we'll go to Q&A after that. Right, Carolina, I think we're shared with you on the screen, and we should be able to see your presentation soon. Here we go. Wonderful. We can see that. Thank you. Over to you.
Are you hearing me?
Hearing you loud and clear and seeing your presentation as well.
Okay, so hello, everybody. We are starting this presentation with some general concepts about the properties to help you guide this webinar and the questions. So 2 important reminders we have to bear in mind is that all properties have to be registered in the land registry and the tax department. What is the land registry certificate? It's like the ID of the property, which means it has the number, the location, the composition, the type of property it is. It's an urban, rural, mixed. It's important that this information it's in the certificate. It's like the birth certificate of the property. It has all its history, all acts that influence the ownership of a property or the structure must be present in the certificate in order to be valid. So it's a very important document to have. And regarding the tax department certificate, this is a document that registers the owners and, most importantly, have details of the apartments like square meters, areas, characteristics that are important to determine the value of the IMI. IMI is annual property tax, which revenue will go to the city hall. It depends on the city hall, but this IMI is something that we cannot not pay, basically. Owners have to pay this annually or per semester, okay? It's very important. And other important aspect to have in mind is that properties built after 51 have to be licensed to define its use. If it's a commercial use, a residential, and this license is given through an inspection, basically. So these aspects are important to have. Along with, let me see if I can change my file. For some reason, I'm okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, you've got the click right.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, regarding these are the standard documents. Okay, this is not for all properties because each property has its history, and these are only the standard ones. So the land registry certificate that we mentioned and the tax department certificate, the declaration of license, the energy certificate, and the blueprint. These are the standard ones. Ivana, if you're seeing that I'm missing something, please note, but I believe it's okay.
I believe it's okay. I think you have it all.
Okay, so these are the standard ones. Regarding the information that we have as a buyer, to buy a house, the only thing that we have to present is a passport and the NIF of everyone involved. If you are a couple, both have to present it. Brothers, everyone has to have an IIF. Since you're buying a house, you don't have to present a tax return, a bank statement, because you already have a credit approved or the money is already put aside. But if you decide to rent a place, since you don't have a guarantor, we have to prove your financial capacity. And for that, we have to ask you for your tax return, some bank statements, because landlords are asking for 6 months in advance, 1 year in advance, in some cases, regarding the renting part. Regarding the locations, where should I buy a house? Your future home is very important, so it has to be in a place that you love, and it depends on the style that you are looking for and how you are willing to start your adventure here. So one thing to have in mind when you are thinking of where you want to buy your house is the demand and the offer law. In Lisbon and in Porto, the demand is very big because we don't have offer for the existing demand, especially in Lisbon. So for you to have an idea, a 2-bedroom apartment in Lisbon, at least the bare minimum, 300K, 400K minimum, just to have a simple 2-bedroom in a good area, because we can find smaller prices, yes, but not in good neighborhoods. And this is an important thing that we as Casa Portuguesa have to pay attention and advise you in which neighborhood you should go, the others that you should avoid, because there's a lot of things happening in the real estate websites, and we are the filter for that. Regarding Algarve, it's a popular region, as Carl said. It's a very inviting one because of all the beaches and everything. And due to this, we have a lot of tourism. And what's happening is many people who own places are using them to rent by short terms. And this makes the prices going up and the offer being low. So it's also a very competitive area. In terms of the Silver Coast, it's characterized by smaller cities. We have Coimbra, Aveiro. There's also the region of Caldas da Rainha. These are areas that have cities with services and transportation, but we have to have in mind that the centers are with increasing demand because the suburbs of these areas are a bit isolated. So lack of services in the suburbs and transportation. So in the centers, the demand is increasing. Regarding the interior of the country, if you want a more relaxed, more rural lifestyle, this is an option for you. But you have to consider the fact that there isn't a lot of services and transport, like hospitals. They can be very far away from where you are. So when you choose to live in the interior of the country, you have to bear in mind that some services are very far away. So we give you that information right away if we understand that that's the case. So you can have a conscious decision. Regarding Madeira, Madeira Island is also a good destination to live. The demand is increasing substantially, and regarding the visits, we have a partner there to do the videos for you, and for you to have the opportunity to go to Madeira. What we, Casa Portuguesa, can do for you as a buyer agent. As I said before, we work with several real estate agencies, so we have a lot of houses for you to choose from. After that, we will ask you what are you looking for, the criterias, number of rooms, furnished, not furnished. Do you want a garden? You don't want to? Do you want stairs? All these details are important for us to decide to help us look for your future home. We also can help you getting the mortgage. It's important information. We have a good partner that can help you with that in case you need it. So we also provide that. After you gave us everything that you are looking for, we will narrow down the search and we'll send you some links according to your requirements. And after you choose the ones that you want, we will do the visits for you on your behalf or with you. If you are here in Portugal, we will go with you. Doing the videos, we will give our honest opinion. We will show you the bad things, the good things. We will show you the area around it so you can have an idea, inform you about the services and the transportation so you can have a clear notion of where the house is. And after you chose an apartment, we will go negotiate on your behalf to make sure you have the best deal possible. And our legal department will take care of all the documentation of the house, will analyze everything, take care of the promissory of purchase and sale contract, and take care of the public deed and the due diligence to have. And by last, we will take care of the utilities for you. So as Jacqueline mentioned, once you're here, you have everything on and you don't have nothing to worry about in this case. And at least for buying, our fee is 500 euros plus VAT, and for the renting 950 plus VAT. If you want us to help you find your future home, we will help you all the way. We have 2 delegations, as Carl mentioned, in Lisbon and in Porto. Lisbon is Carla Carvalho and me, Carolina, and in Porto, Ana Mota and Ivana. And you are free to email us and send us text through WhatsApp if you need it. And we will clear all your doubts and be with you every step of the way to make sure that you get the house that you want, because that's important for us to be happy in the place. And now I'm afraid my presentation is over and we have all the time for the questions you might have.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That's wonderful, Carolina. Ivana, did you want to add anything to what's been said so far?
No, I think Carolina has said everything that is important. But I just want to add that we have a very a personal. We are very personal in dealing with things and looking for the houses and everything, because we want to feel like if it's for us ourselves. So with this in mind, I think we can do a very good job for you looking for a house. That's
really reassuring to know. So you're
and
looking at it for yourself. Wonderful.
Yeah. I just want to add that the prices that someone asked about that, the prices is not for person, like it's for the, if you are a couple, it's not for person, it's for the job itself. Okay. Yes. For the transaction, for that place, for that, the search that you were going to do. Okay.
That's really good. Thank you for clarifying that. That was for Melanie. That was one of the first couple of questions that are coming in. We do have a bit of a stunned silence, actually, I have to say, in the chat. So it must have been a very good presentation, Carolina, and very comprehensive. But do, if you do have any questions, and you know the rules here, there are no such things as silly questions here, apart from when I ask them sometimes. But seriously, if there's something that you want to ask and you think it might be a silly question, feel free to ask it anyway. We would be delighted to hear your question, whatever it is. So pop it into the chat. Connie is asking, Carolina and slash Nunu. I don't think he's here yet, but he probably will be with us for the Dream Team session at 9. And I'll pop the link into the chat for that now, actually, as we speak. That's the Dream Team session at 9. The question we have...
Nuno, it's that very handsome gentleman.
Is he here? I'm not looking at that
on the right.
So, okay.
He is here. He's just looking particularly handsome tonight, which is probably why you have...
That's what threw me, of course. All right, more than usual, yeah. Carolina, Nuno, the combination here then, Casa Portuguesa insurance. The question is the insurance rental guarantee insurance being used now by Casa Portuguesa clients, and is the insurance decreasing the owner's demand for 6 to 12 months rental payments in advance? That's a great question, Connie, because there has been a little bit of a hike in demands from some of the owners, and you might want to comment on this, Carolina, how you manage that on the client's behalf. It's not legal, is it, to it's not illegal, but it's not the done thing to suddenly raise the amount of advanced rental just because somebody's a foreigner. Could you comment on that, Caroline? And what's the situation at the moment?
Yes, of course. So this is very unfair because since there's no offer, the landlords have everything in their hands. So they use that power to ask things like 1 month ahead. 1 year ahead. Yeah. So I have to ask the client if he's willing to. I say that it's a lot of money. Some clients do, some others don't. We usually say 6 rents in advance, but it's divided. This means that I usually suggest 2 rents in advance. 6 rents. 4 in advance, 2 for deposits.
Okay.
The
deposit.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
The deposit is the amount of money that the landlord will keep until the end of the contract in case something happens, like you broke a door or a window or something. He can use that money. If the apartment is in the same stage as it is delivered, that amount, the deposit will be given to the clients entirely. So we usually offer the 6 rents. We don't go higher than that unless the client says that he wants go like 8 rents or something, if he wants to do the house. The insurance, we have some we've been reaching some companies to try to make this easier, but the insurance most of the times only is activated 1 year after the house is being rented. So it's not useful for the clients who are trying to rent the house at the moment. So the 6 rents are what is being used. Yes.
Okay, so that's a pretty good rule to follow, and that makes it nice and clear for people. And of course, you're in a different position negotiating on behalf of the client, in as much as they might find it a bit more challenging if they were doing it themselves and have those unreasonable demands made. The rental guarantee insurance, are you working in conjunction with Winsurance to offer that? Nuno might like to chip in with that.
Hello, good afternoon,
Nuno.
everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, or good evening, or good morning. I don't know where you are. So, hi all. So yeah, we struggle. We have been searching for an insurance policy that it really add value to this situation that some are struggling with, because the offers that we have in the Portuguese market are mostly or works mostly due to a loss of unemployment, and in which of the cases usually people are retired, so it means that you will be paying for an insurance policy that in the end it didn't serve you or the landlord. And we have a solution that is not linked to unemployment. So if the tenant stops paying the rent, the landlord has up to 45 days to advise the insurer, to do the claim to the insurer. And the first 2 months, which has the deposit that the client, the tenant do to the landlord, this payment in advance. After the two months after the claim, the insurer start paying to the landlord the rent. Also, simultaneously, it sues the tenant and start all the legal process to solve the situation. And in case of a claim, it also has 3,000 euros indemnity in case of the tenant damage something in the building. Okay, so it's this is the only solution that we know that it really works and really serves the purpose.
Well, that's a pretty amazing solution, I've got to say. And you've worked hard to deliver that, I know, Nuno, as well. So there you go. There's some dream team action right there. That's Casa Portuguesa and Winsurance working together in this instance. And to bring initially that the landlord some peace of mind. To be fair to landlords who are dealing with people coming into the country for the first time, there will be a little bit of doubt. They don't have a credit history in the country, so this insurance policy is a really good way of helping the property owner to feel comfortable as a landlord. So thank you for that, Nuno. You will be with us at 9, I believe, so that's great. And Gilda will be joining in as well. So Dream Team at 9, and I will put the link to that in the chat again. Barak has offered a nice testimonial, like a work in progress testimonial, currently using Casa Portuguesa now and in the process of buying a home. And Ivana, along with Anna, has been amazing making things smooth and easy so far. Fingers crossed, the rest goes well. Yes, absolutely. And fingers crossed, I don't know what that is in Portuguese, but those Portuguese sayings last week on the Dream Team session were fantastic. And I've made a clip of them, which we'll release on the YouTube channel. So we'll have more Portuguese education tonight as we approach 10 o'clock at the end of the Dream Team session. Hello to you, Anna. Thank you for your advice to not go to Lisbon the first week of August. I'll extend that advice to everybody. Lisbon is probably a good place to avoid the first week of August of this year, 2023. There will be 1.5 million young people heading to Lisbon for the youth conference. And the Pope is on his way to bless them all as well. I think he's offering a few papal pardons if you're under 30, as I understand it as well. So Jennifer is going to Guimarães instead. It's going to be busy in Lisbon first week of August. Thank you for that heads up there. Back to the questions. Superb. Okay, so we dealt with Connie's question, Melanie's as well. The fees are per group, if you like, per household rather than per individual. Great question, Sean. Must I have a NIF to rent? Let's go back to this, Carolina. You did mention it, but of course, every important transaction in Portuguese life, you need your NIF number. Are you there, Carolina?
Yes, sorry, my mic was off. Yes, the NIF is very important.
Yes.
If you don't have the NIF, what we can do sometimes is when we have a visa case, for example, we can try to put the NIF of one person and the other one that is still waiting for the finances. We talk to the agent and explain the situation, and we promise to, in a period, 30-day period, until because let me restart. So the owner has like 90 days to register the contract. So we usually use that to our advantage in case one of the people doesn't have the NIF. To add it later because we are waiting for the finances, but one of them has at least to be present for the renting case. Okay, for the purchase, everyone has to have their NIFs right away. Renting case, we can try to smooth things a bit, but when you are purchasing a house, you have to have your NIF. Can I just do a comment? I saw a question over there regarding the pets.
Yes, well, that's the next question. Is it easy to find a rental property, a landlord that will be happy to have tenants with a pet? It comes up. It's a good question.
So I have a pet myself. I have my Cookie. I have a dog, and I know for experience that it's very difficult to find a landlord that is willing to accept pets. So what we do, we don't mention them unless they ask us. Really, if they ask us, we have to say the truth, and we say that there's a dog or there's a cat or something. But if they don't, we usually don't talk about them. If there's in the contract, we have to mention them. But we usually only share that information if needed. If not, we don't mention it at all because the landlords are not very pet friendly here. We have to.
That's very interesting, Carolina, because it's not. You're not meant to prejudice against people with pets, are you, by law? But of course, as a matter of discretion, and if a landlord is looking at a list of people and some have got pets and some haven't, then they're likely to go for less wear and tear, aren't they? And I think, to be fair as well, in the interior, if you go to a more countrified place, people are a lot more comfortable about pets, aren't they? But if we're talking about apartments in Lisbon, Porto, and the big cities, it might be that the landlords are a bit picky. So there's your advice. Keep it to yourself. If your pet's called Bruno, we don't talk about Bruno until we absolutely have to. Okay, thank you for that question, Rehan. I hope I've pronounced your name correctly. What timeline? Great question from Patrick and Barbara. What timeline should we plan on when expecting to rent? So the timeline, the time scale of doing all of this, when to engage with Casa Portuguesa. What would you recommend there, Carolina?
It depends on when are you planning to arrive. I will pick a question of one Dream Team session. Some people wanted to come to Portugal in February, and they asked us when to start the process. I recommended mid-December. 1 month, 1 month and a half, I believe it's a good period because we have to understand what the client wants. And since it's hard to find a place, we have to have some time to go to houses, see what we like, what we don't like. We can't rush it. So at least 1.5 months. But what do you say, Ivana? Do you agree?
Hey, Ivana,
Yes.
do we need you?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, she is.
I'm sorry, I was reading the other
I
question
see that
here.
you're busy. You're busy in the chat, aren't you? I can see
Yeah, I was looking for someone was talking to me like, Ivana, are you responsible for the renting in Tomar and Leiria? And I was just reading that. And would you please repeat it
it.
to me?
On the matter of time scale.
Okay. Yes, I think we should. It's for renting.
It is for rent. Yeah, Patrick and Barbara.
Maybe 2 months
Okay.
in advance, I think.
All
in
right.
Porto.
Okay, that's good to know. And
Yeah.
we should reiterate, shouldn't we? Whether or not the Pope is coming in August, it's good to, if you're thinking of moving or needing to secure somewhere in the summer, you can pretty much write August off, can't you, as a slow going month? So maybe 2 or 3 months if you're looking to move in the summertime, and you've got an August in the mix there somewhere. So thank you very much, Carolina and Ivana, on that. If you can help with a mortgage, I presume we need to have an account with the bank you're getting it from. We are in the process of getting a bank account open. It is just taking a bit of a while. Mortgages, you can point people in the right direction, and presumably we can point to Jacqueline as well of Mortgage Direct as well, who you'll find in the Expats Portugal business directory. So look for Jacqueline in there when it comes to, she's a very straightforward lady. She's a palm casual lady who will give you a quote, and you can find it in the business directory of Expats Portugal. It was difficult when Jerry said Nunu's the handsome one. Julie says, lots of handsome folks in here tonight. Excellent, thank you. And Pedder in South Wales, can you please repeat the cost? I didn't quite hear it. So to repeat those costs, buying to the help from Casa Portuguesa is 2,500 euros plus the IVA, the VAT, and for rentals, the service cost 950 plus VAT IVA there. I think that's correct. Is it not, Ivana and Carolina?
Sorry.
Those fees, 2,500 euros plus VAT for buying, and 950 plus VAT IVA for the rental process. Great.
Yes, okay. Correct.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. On with the questions then. Upon reviewing properties on Idealista, I noticed that there is a line item that says make a counter offer. Is this actually possible? Can a prospective renter actually counter the asking price for monthly rent? Good luck on Idealista, I think lots of people would say to you, but I think we're transferring the point there. And Casa Portuguesa will be negotiating and attempting to make counter offers, won't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, working on your behalf there, Angela, to get you the best possible price.
But may I say something?
Of course you can. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. About making a counter offer. Usually they would have so many candidates for the place that they would not accept anything less than the price that it's on the ad. Yeah. Okay. So
yes, and
you can do that.
You'll know, won't you? You're working in this area, this geographical location, so you know what works and doesn't work here in the way that somebody hitting it for the first time.
Yeah.
So if possible, room for negotiation, yes. But if there's going to be a lot of demand, you might be going against yourself with that.
Yes,
Angela.
that's
okay.
it.
Susan's question, can you describe the company history and volume of transactions over time, particularly interested in your experience in Madeira? Thank you. So you did say there was interest or increased interest, Carolina, in Madeira now. And I mean, there is, just more and more people are interested in the islands there, aren't they? I think Susan's question is how long have Casa Portuguesa been operating? And I guess we can extend that, can't we, to how long EIA have been operating, because given that it's a sister company of EI. So Carolina, how long has Casa Portuguesa been operating in its own right?
Casa Portuguesa it's a project after A, but I can check the year just to be sure it cannot be give you here some terrible years.
Okay.
So Casa Portuguesa has been around for, let me just, sorry.
Okay, no problem. And we'll move on as well. Susan needs to know how long.
I will ask you that question right away. Let me
okay. Yeah, sure.
confirm it.
Very good. And I think you've muted yourself as well, Carolina, there in the process. You did say earlier on, didn't you? You're used to
Sorry.
working. No problem. You were saying before we started that you're more used to working with teams. The world is divided in this way, isn't it? Between people who prefer, well, not prefer is probably the wrong word to use, but there are teams people and there are Zoom people as well. So have you got those stats, Carolina?
My computer is not working with me.
It always happens. As soon as you go to the computer to find something out, especially in a live situation with loads of people, it doesn't want to work, does it?
Can we just move on?
I'll come back to you. Oh, yeah, I'll come back to you on that. So that will be the question that you'll come back to us on about Madeira and how long Casa Portuguesa have been operating. While you're doing that, maybe Ivana can help with what is the stamp duty and who pays it? How long is the buying process after an offer is accepted? So, David, great question. Can you talk us through, Ivana, the buying process, stamp duty, who's paying that, and the timescale, roughly speaking, because obviously it changes from case to case, but the timescale, the process when it comes to buying a property?
Well, it depends on the property itself, like the documentation, if everything is in order. And we have to analyze everything, and you have to be ready with your personal documentations too. Yeah. So this would take a little while. And if you are buying like with, if you already have money to buy it you don't need a mortgage, then it will be faster. Yes. Than if you have to wait for banking solutions for your case. Okay. So I know some people that I work for with A, and initially with A because they decided to rent first and to come and to live in the area they want to buy. And then after that, after a while, 1 year living in the place, looking for something, and then they will know for sure what they want.
Yeah. And it will be different to, I think, what Americans are used to. I think sometimes you can buy a house within days, can't you? In the United States, yeah. The ducks are in a row.
Not here.
Not here in Portugal. We are talking a few weeks at the best case scenario, aren't we? And possibly a few months. And it will depend from case to case. What about stamp duty? What can you tell us about that? Oh, you've muted up again there, Ivana.
Yeah.
Yeah, stamp duty on purchase of property.
The taxes.
Yes, I guess that will have a different name, won't it, here in Portugal? So yeah, the taxes due when buying. Who's paying them? Is it both the buyer and the seller?
Yes, I think Carolina, can you help me with that? I mean, I think we have taxes for both sides. Okay.
We've got questions piling up for Carolina now.
Yes.
How are you doing that?
We can check it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, David, yes. We'll come back to you on that. And I can see that we are going to have to go to a few questions after we finish the recording because there are lots this evening. Thank you, everybody, for those. Will the renter be charged if an appliance fails, even if it's not the fault of the renter? That's a good question from Lowell, and that's probably discretionary as well, isn't it? Sometimes you hear of landlords charging people for the replacement of things that you might, in a different culture, think, well, that's just wear and tear. What's your view on that, Ivana, with landlords wanting to charge you for the failure of an appliance, for example, a washing machine or a dishwasher?
Again, again, to charge you for washing machine?
Yes, for example, if the washing machine breaks, I've heard of this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I read the questions.
Yes, you know, dishwasher,
it's something,
washing machine.
If the cause of the problem was you, then you have to pay.
Yes.
Like if you open the door and you broke it.
Yes.
So you have to pay. If it's not, then the landlord pays for it. Want to say something, Carolina?
However, we do hear of situations, don't we, where sometimes the landlord does push it, but I guess that's human nature. And all over the world, don't you, where that might be the case? Go on, Carolina.
This is an important question. First, Casa Portuguesa was founded in 2016. I was just counting the years to not fail you. Regarding this question, this is important.
Yes.
Once you come to the apartment, it's important to do a video or take pictures of the apartment to state the stage you found it.
Right.
Because when the contract ends, they will do a mandatory visit to see the stage of the apartment. Again, if something is broken or neglected by you, you have to pay. But in this case, if you come to an apartment and 15 days later, your heater broke down, as it happened with a client of ours, it's not the client's fault because the stage, they didn't. What we do is we send someone there to analyze the problem and to understand its fault. If the appliance broke down because of bad use or because of timing, because there's been a lot of time and no maintenance at all, that's the owner's fault, and he has to cover the cost because it's not neglect or bad use on your part. In the other hand, we had a client that had the dryer broke down because when she put the jeans in, the hair clips were in her pockets.
Oh.
And the dryer broke down.
Right.
And when the plumber went there to understand the problem, it was understandable that was her fault, and that's why, and she had to cover it, but only by neglect or bad use. If there's problems referring to the time that the appliance exists, and usually by time passing and bad maintenance by the owner, he is the one who has to cover the cost. But that's why it's important to take pictures of everything once you go to the apartment, so the landlord don't charge you or keeps your deposits wrongly.
There you go, Lol. That's a great question, and that doesn't mean that the landlord won't try and charge you, but legally that's the situation, and that's why it's a good idea, as Carolina says there, to do an inventory and an inspection, your own inspection with video, or as comprehensive as you can be upon receipt of the property. And David, we'll come back to your taxes question when we unmute the mics at the end of the recording as well. I haven't forgotten you there. We'll come back and we'll talk about that later on too. If we're renting now in the US, ask Courtney, and have a letter of recommendation from our landlord about us as renters, will that help secure a place? I guess it could all help, couldn't it? Having a guarantee and a reference from the United States. Carolina?
Yes, one thing that we sometimes advise is to have a presentation letter. Why? Because since you are away, it's the best way to speak to the landlord. It's the way you present to yourself, because in the end, I speak with, sometimes if we speak with real estate agencies and owners, both sides.
Yes.
But if we are dealing with a real estate agent, he is the one who will pass on the perception he had, right?
Yes.
So a presentation letter is a personal touch that you can add value to your offer, especially if you add some details about, oh, I love the beautiful house and the lighting and everything. I can help you with that also. Like, we see the letter, and if we see pets, we usually take down.
Yeah.
If we see that the landlord won't accept it, or it's a problem, we usually take down unless they ask. But a presentation letter is always a plus.
Very good. Connie's asking the question, what information about the potential client, me, basically in brackets, do you present to the property owner to positively influence the owner in my favor? There you go, Connie. I think that's been answered by Carolina there. And Suzanne likes the idea. Love the idea of not volunteering info about the pets, but that's because she's got an elephant and a giraffe, I think, that she's bringing over from the United States, possibly. This is a good question from Bruce. Are the prices of your services the same no matter how far from Lisbon or Porto you are? We're looking in Castelo de Vide, great place to be, that particular municipality. But your fees are the same, aren't they? Wherever people choose to search. or wherever you're searching for them, for that matter?
Well, the prices are the same, but the visits, they include in the area, like the Porto and the area surrounding area. If we have to go to somewhere farther, so then there will be a fee for this location. Okay.
Okay, so a possible bit of mileage and expenses if you're going further afield to look on people.
Yes.
Good to know. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much indeed. I think we're going to end the recording there. I know we've got a lot of questions to carry on with, but we'll stop the recording at that point. Apart from a last word from you, Ivana and Carolina. You first, Ivana. Is there anything you'd like to add before we stop the recording? We've got.
When we were talking about the appliance and everything, that
Yes.
I would like to add that you still have 15 days after you move in to write down, to check everything. So if anything happens and then you see that something is not working properly, you have 15 days to tell the owner of the place so he could fix it.
That is really helpful information. Thank you, Anna. Do stick around because we've got more questions, plenty more questions to come between now and 9 o'clock when the Dream Team session starts. I'll put the link to that in the chat in just a moment. Carolina, I'm going to sneak in your closing comments. I'd like you to address this as well, if possible. Michael asks a great question. In addition to your services to assist in purchasing, can you also assist in renting and management? So this will be property management. What my wife and I hope to buy a place, then put it on the rental market for 2 years until the time we can move there permanently. Would you handle that property for Michael? Do you do property management as well, Carolina?
Yes, we do. We do all the services to guarantee that the client is happy.
Very good. Okay, excellent stuff.
No, we do. It's important thing to do, especially when the client is abroad and the property has to be managed in case something happens. Someone has to, like an urgency regarding electricity or water. We have to be vigilant to the houses that are the client's houses. So yes, we do.
And it kind of keeps it in the family as well, doesn't it? That you've got access to a great property. You've maybe sourced for somebody, and now it's being made available to somebody else in the community as well, which is great. Closing comments then from you, Carolina, and then we'll go to a Q&A after we've ended the recording. So, Carolina, what would you like to say in conclusion?
What I would like to say is that please be patient, because it can be a frustrating process. Okay, finding a house for renting or for purchase is it's a long way to go, because landlords, bureaucracy, we are here for you all steps of the way. But please bear in mind that it doesn't happen in a day or two. Yes. It has to be in time, with conversation and understanding of the requirements and the frustrations. It's a process, but it's totally worth it, because at the end you have a beautiful home here in Portugal, and that's the most important thing for us.
Well said. Great job tonight. Thank you, Carolina. Thank you, Ivana. And thank you, Angela, for saying this is yet another, in capital letters, great webinar from the team at Expats Portugal. Thank you very much. We'll pause for the moment and we'll go to a few of your questions in a hands up, unmuted mic situation. Thank you, Carolina. Thank you, Ivana. And thanks everybody for your questions.